Okay, here's the next step in creating the organizer program in C++. What we're going to do next is add the XML file to this project in Windows in Visual C++ 2010. Here's how you do that. We see up here at the top of the Solution Explorer the name of our whole solution or project, Organizer. Mine's called Organizer 2. Go ahead and right click on that name of the project and come down here where it says Add and say Add Existing Item. Okay. What we're going to do now is go and find that data XML file that we went ahead and downloaded from Moodle and saved here in the Organizer folder. You can see it right here. Go ahead and select that and say Add. Okay, and sure enough, once we do that, we'll see down here now this file has been added to our project. Now it can be used and referenced in our project, and this is the file that we're going to read all the data out of so that we can display it in our data grid view object right here in the window. Okay, we need to do one other thing here. If we're going to work with XML data inside a C++ program, we have to add a namespace for doing that. So what I need you to do now is come up here and choose View and say select Code, and this will open up the code view for our program. And you want to go way up here at the top. It should open up here looking at the very top, and you see all the using namespace declarations. And the last one in the list is using system drawing. We want to go ahead and add another namespace, and we're going to put our cursor here, hit enter, and type in using namespace. And we're going to use the namespace system : X with a capital X ML semicolon. Okay. And this now allows us to use a bunch of functions and different library items inside the XML library of the C++, the namespace, the XML namespace. Okay, just like we do all these other namespaces. Then one more thing we have to do here is now create a data set that will hold all the data from the XML file. What happens is the program reads the data XML file and stores all the data that's in there. Remember all the names of your songs and the artists. Stores all that data in a data set, and we're going to call it DS list. So the place you need to do that is you should find some code here in your program that says to do add the constructor code here, and then a closing curly brace, and you need to go ahead and right below that hit enter twice and go ahead, and I'm going to put a comment here that says add a data set, and then right below that again the 2 forward slashes means it's a comment, and that's why it turns green. It's not really part of the code, just a comment. Then right below that data set, capital D capital S, it's a managed variable, so I'm going to put a caret there, and then I'm going to call it DS capital L list, and then put a semicolon. Okay, I've now declared a data set called DS list. The DS at the beginning just tells me it's a data set and it's called list, and that's just a naming convention that we use when we're naming objects like that. Alright, let's go back to our form design view and let's begin to code some of our objects here. First of all, let's go ahead and code the exit button. We go ahead and double click on that, and as we know, it creates a method for handling the clicking of that exit toolstrip menu item. Okay, so I go to the end of that line of code, put my cursor there, hit enter, and as we know, we just write close with an opening and closing parentheses, and that's what closes the program. Okay, might as well close, save everything. Let's go File, Save All. Now, the other method that we need to create is a method that's going to run whenever the form loads. Okay, because as you can see, this particular program doesn't have any button that we click to make the program run. Instead, the data that's in our XML file is just going to automatically be displayed in this data grid view as soon as the form loads. And so in order to create a method for that, all you have to do is come up here to the title bar at the top and just double click. Double click fast, and you'll see that it actually creates another private method called form1 underscore load. Okay, and that's exactly what it is. It's a method that handles the loading of the form. Okay, and so as usual, come out here to the end, put our cursor there and hit enter. And now we're inside that method where we can go ahead and write the rest of our code. Okay, and this is what's going to actually, the code that's actually going to make the program run. Okay, inside this method we're going to go ahead and give our data set called DSList, give it a value. We're going to say DSList is assigned the value of a new, GC new, data set. Okay, and that is going to be specifically an object called list. Now you may recall that when we created our XML file, we had a list tag in there, L-I-S-T, and inside that list tag were all the items that made up our list, and this is referring to that same list right here. Okay, so we're making a data set and creating a new data set, and we're doing that from the data called list. Okay, go down to the next line. Then we're going to say this DS list, and we're going to use the read. We're going to use the read XML method that's part of a data set. Okay, so remember, DS list is a data set, and every data set has a method that allows us to read XML, and that's what we're using. And then in parentheses, we're going to tell it which XML file to read. And so as you can imagine, we're going to go ahead and write in the name of that file, data XML, and that has to be all in double quotes, and then close our parentheses and put a semicolon. Okay, so we're going to read that XML file and put it into the data set called DSList. That's what we've done there. And then next we're going to go ahead and refer to the data grid view. Remember, we called it my grid. Now if you didn't change the name of the data grid view in the previous video, you need to go back and do that. It's capital M, capital G, my grid. So we're referring to that data grid view now called my grid, and we're going to assign the data source, which is the DS list, that data set object we created above. Okay, and then last but not least, we're going to again refer to the data grid view called my grid, and we're going to get a specific data member. And remember, inside that list in the XML file, we had a bunch of individual items, and they were simply called items. Oops, I-T-E-M. So we put that in double quotes. And now, basically what we've done is we've created a new data set called DSList. Okay, we've read the XML file into it. We've assigned a data source, the DSList data source, where we can store all our data, and then we look through that data source for all the members or items in that data source, and ours are specifically called item. Okay, and again, what we're doing is referring to all this data over here in the data.xml file. Just double click this file and you can see. Remember, it's called list, and inside each one are different data members called item. Okay, so that's what we're referring to here. All right, and that's it. Once you've done that, if you've done that all correctly, we should be able to go File, Save All, and then build and debug our program. Okay, it may take a little while to build the first time, but once it does so, you should see your Windows Form application open, your organizer, and you'll see that inside the data grid view has been displayed the 7 songs that you put into your data XML file, and you can see that you can go ahead and click on any on the title of either of these columns, and when you do so, it will reorganize the list alphabetically by the items that are in that particular column. Okay, and if you click it twice, it'll put it alphabetical order in a backwards, ascending, or descending direction. Okay. All right, so when you're done, of course, you should have 7 unique names of songs and their artists here, not the name of song and artist name default values that were in there when I gave you the file. You should have at least 7 songs, if not more. All right, that's how you make an organizer, and go ahead and finish this program up, and go ahead, and once you're done, go ahead and turn it in.